This is Jeni Sayud, and it is Wellness Wednesday time here in Honolulu. I'm excited to get into and jump into this week for our guest speaker. She's making her way onto the call right now, but we are most definitely excited to have all of you on. Appreciate you carving your time here on a Wednesday, or for those of you watching the replay whenever, as soon as possible that you're watching this on. We appreciate you. Hey, Laura. I'm just introducing the call, so hold on one sec. Again, this is Jeni Sayud, and we are happy to bring you a woman every week here with Wellness Wednesday, sharing about her passion, sharing about her organization, her career, but most definitely finding women not just from Hawaii now. It's ventured out through people who know people in Hawaii or are in some type of family or network that's connected to Hawaii. And for me, it's really been a privilege just to connect with some of the women that I've either known from the past or we knew of each other from the past. And that's what one of the speakers is today. But she'll tell a little bit more about her story. But before I get into that, let me share a little bit about our core values and our mission statement. So that is what we are about. That is what this every Wednesday when you tune in or you watch the replay, that's what we're all about. And as essential businesses and some others start working again back at their locations or at home remotely, we still love to bring you content. We love to bring you these women. So I'm going to get out of the way so she can introduce herself here. Laura and I know each other from like back in the day. I think we're familiar with each other, right? We went to kind of like sister schools, and I love searching for people that I knew before, and now they're like running businesses or they're heading up or spearheading missions and what they're doing in their professions. And for the longest time, I was trying to find an interior designer. So you're hearing this for the first time, Laura. Finding an interior designer to be featured here on Wellness Wednesday, because I've read a couple articles. I'm like very into watching things on YouTube and educating myself. But now that we're all home, I think everybody kind of realizes kind of what changes they want to do in their home, right? Like whether it's upgrading their couch or adding and spicing up their backgrounds for Zoom, or just more cleaner spots where they can feature themselves when they're, FaceTiming or Zooming with their family. And I know of a handful of families that have upgraded as far as their, furniture and whatnot. But, for us, whether you're renting, whether you own, I'm sure it's come across your mind, wanting to upgrade your space. But there's such more of a creative part of interior designing. So I wanted Laura to kind of share why and how she got into interior designing, share now what she's up to, and maybe some tips for all of us, like the low budget tips and then the high budget tips for someone on here geared towards maybe they want to just change one thing in their room, or maybe they want to change up the whole thing. What are some good tips that you can provide for us? So I'm going to turn it over to you, Laura.
Okay.
I don't want to take away from you.
So I think we knew each other. From Chorale, because I was like super active in singing at San Gabriel, and I know you were super active in it when you were at GAA. So that's kind of how we know each other. And then of course, like through church, we've crossed paths a couple of times. But it's kind of funny because I started when I went to school. Initially, I went to school for music, and about halfway through my sophomore year, I realized that it was something I liked, but it wasn't really something I wanted to be my career path. So I did a little bit of soul searching, I guess. I went to a community college in Santa Barbara for a little bit, and I took an interior design course. And I've been working in fashion at the time. So I was kind of doing merchandising on the side, like while I was in school. So I really fell in love with that interior design course. And I said, you know what, like, I think this is what I want to do. So I went to a design school for 2 years. I just got my associate's degree. And then when I finished, I realized that I didn't really love kitchen and bath. I really, really, really love working in fashion. I really do, but you can't really make money doing that. So I found an ad on Indeed somewhere, and it was for a company called Closet Factory. And I worked there for probably a year and a half to 2 years. And I got some really great training there, but I really wanted to work for a company that had more of like a construction element to it, because really at the end of the day, I'm an interior designer. Like, I don't just do the whole cabinetry thing. And I found the company that I'm currently working for in March of 2008, right when I got pregnant with my daughter, Emma. So I've been working there since. I love it. It's just recently, like, my business is like completely taken off. I do a lot of like really high-end design, where I do like really elaborate closets with lighting and glass and like stuff that you see on TV, that type of stuff. And I even do like basic things, like your basic pantry. Maybe right now what's really popular, especially because of all the distant learning and what's going on at home, is I have a lot of offices going in. Like, people need a space for their kids to work. Like, they need a space they can sit there with their kids. Unless you're at the dining room, the kids need a little bit more separation than that. But there's lots of things that you can do as far as like if you're trying to just get organized. So my best suggestion to you would be to make a plan, have an Wi-Fi off. That might be part of the reason
Make
why.
a plan. Sorry.
So yeah, make a plan.
Yes.
And you're gonna want everything to have a home for the most part, right? And then you
Yes.
kind of build the cabinetry around that, right? So like for me, when I think about a closet, I think about outfitting, right? So I try to put all of my work stuff in one section, and then I put all of my dresses, my summer dresses in one section, all my formal stuff in another section. I categorize shoes the same way. I color coordinate things. Like for me, that's just, not only does it help with an ease of finding things, but people don't realize that they spend about an hour a day in their closet because they're just looking for stuff. Now, if you have things in a specific order and you know where it is, you spend less time there. People don't realize that they're spending that much time because they're doing it sporadically throughout the day.
Right.
But really, when you have a disorganized space and you don't know where your things are, it's kind of hard to get ready in the morning. It affects your whole day. So
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. It's yeah, when I first saw your pictures from your work, I was like, oh my gosh, these are like Kim Kardashian or the Kardashian closets. Like, they're like lounge spaces in closets. It was amazing. Just, I should have posted, I might on the replay, I'll post some of the examples that you have on your Facebook page. But yeah, I didn't even think of people revamping their space because now they have to teach their children in their homes and having to even work at home. So having a home for everything, it makes so much sense. Like I went for the last couple years, I've gone through like phases of Marie Kondo, I guess you could say. If things bring me joy, and then if not, I toss them out, because we hang on to things so much, like throughout. Yeah, it's just, so what are some tips, like if someone wants to just downsize so that they can make more space for things, how do you help your clients to be able to do that?
Usually when people are getting ready to get their projects installed, there's a certain process that I put them through. I have them, like, one thing is like I'll bring them clothing racks, which will help them bring everything out, right? But the next step really is you want to make a pile of things that you need to throw away, things that you need to donate, and then things that you want to keep, right? So as long as you're consistent with that, and a good way to do that is also, like, let's say that you already have a space that's done, I would turn your hangers the other direction in your closet, right? So then you know, like, hey, I haven't touched this stuff in like months. Like, why is it in there? Now, it might be a seasonal item, and that might be the reason why. But in California, really, I mean, we only have 2 seasons. It's fall and summer, or spring and summer, however you want to put it. So, I mean, most people, I think here, they know that they're not going to be wearing a certain item very much.
Right.
So that's one thing. And there's always like, and I always tell my clients, like, you can, even if you don't want to deal with giving that stuff to the Goodwill, like there's plenty of women's shelters and things where people need that type of stuff. Like they're setting women up with jobs and they may not have the right clothes for stuff like that. And I deal with a lot of clients that have nice stuff. So that's another tip that I have for maybe helping you purge. Like when you know that it's going to someone and you're making an impact on their life and you're doing something good for them, it's a little bit easier to kind of get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just knowing it, you feel like it's going into the garbage. So that would be one organizational stuff. I guess that's the main one. That's how you can start.
So what's your favorite thing about being an interior designer? I like to pretend I'm an interior designer sometimes when I just redoing my home and helping people.
My favorite part of it, honestly, is that I get to be creative. I'm a creative person. Just that's how I am naturally. I was music when I was younger, and now I've kind of just molded into this person that is really good with space. I can walk into a room and already know like what the layout needs to be now. And I love the fact that when my job is done and my client is happy and they're like, oh my gosh, this looks so beautiful. I had a client cry one time. It was because she was happy. Like that's the type of thing that I love the most about my job. Is seeing like making a good impact on somebody else's life. I'll give you, like, I had one client that I was dealing with. They were in the Malibu rebuild. Their house burnt down. So they're left with nothing, like nothing. They didn't have anything. So that's even more challenging because I have to think about what they're going to have, not what they already have. Yeah, there's a lot of really great reward in my career. And I love that I'm helping people.
For anybody who's listening in here today, like, I mean, Hawaii is similar to like California, where I feel like we pretend we have 2 seasons, but we really just have one.
Yeah,
because
right?
as soon as it drops to like 70, we think it's winter.
Right,
but
too, yeah.
but like I keep a lot of my winter clothes for when we travel, winter fall clothes in like my big suitcases, just to like, you know, help with storage versus just having my suitcases take up space. But most of the everyday clothes and then like the formal work clothes would be off to the side. But I do love doing the color coded thing as well. So which most, like, half of my closet is black and gray. Everything else is
that's the LA side of you. That's the LA
it is. It is. Yeah, I have to intentionally try to wear some type of color in there. But so what are some pastimes that you're finding yourself now that you're working kind of from home or remotely and getting to spend more time with your family?
Well, I do work from home, but I wouldn't say that I'm working less. I'm probably working more. Like I'm busier now after COVID started than I was before it did. And I think mainly it's because everybody's at home and they're looking at their house. And when they're not forced to be in their house all the time, it's not a big deal. But now they're saying like, oh, I can't deal with this. This is a mess. But one thing that really does help me, like my husband and my parents help me out a lot. Like, I don't know how I would do it if I didn't have their support, because sometimes I work like 60 hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it can be a little challenging in that sense. Like sometimes there's days where I'll wake up and I'll leave and my daughter will still be in bed and I'll get home and she'll be in bed again to go to sleep for the night. So in that sense, it's rough. But I know that I have a strong support system. So because of that, I don't let it overwhelm me too much. Like I try to kind of balance. And also I work for a really great company. Like they were paying us when we were shut down through COVID. They were also like, they have my back if something happens. We're a really small business. Like we're a family. And so knowing that I have that security too, it's just, you know, I know I can go anywhere with it. And I've been really blessed in the last 6 months just because I feel like my business, like my personal business, is just like really taken off. And I know it just has to do with all the support that I have, you know? I wouldn't be there without it.
That's so good. And I found my last question that I almost forgot about. But have you ever ventured out to wanting to do like a step above more, like be it fixer uppers or wanting to flip homes with kind of the skill set that you have and knowing, or are you just well interior designing? And
Well, I thought about it, but the
yeah,
reality of it is I'm busy enough right now,
yeah,
like doing what I currently do, and I really love it because I still kind of get to work in fashion doing what I do because now I'm just merchandising people's houses for the most part. But like that's pretty much what it is. But I have thought about it. I would be open to it if the opportunity arrived, but I don't see myself going out and looking for it, if that makes sense.
yeah.
It's
No,
just
that's
there's a
totally.
lot to do with a remodel. Like there's so much more involved. Like you have to deal with structural things most of the time. I mean, and that's really a contractor's thing. I can do some of the stuff like inside of the house as far as the space planning thing goes, but again, I don't really like dealing with kitchen and bath. It's not fun to me.
Really?
I can do it, but it's just not what I like. It's not my specialty.
Right.
I focus on space planning and cabinetry design.
So good. Awesome. And if you're just joining us, this is Laura Cook here on Wellness Wednesday. I'm Jeni Saud, your host. We've been talking about, just spaces and her niche of interior designing. And she's in California. By most of us, I think, are between Hawaii and California. If you're in a different state, drop it in the comments so that we can see you and recognize you and whatnot. And we will be playing this replay, showing off some of the photos that Laura has as well for some of the projects she's done. So we'll disperse that YouTube on YouTube, but it'll be forever on the internet, so you can help spread the word about it. Anaheim, California, fantastic. Welcome. We love to have you. So yeah, between Hawaii and California. So construction manager. Wow. Who invited you on, Christina? If you don't mind, you can unmute yourself.
Miss Katoa did. Hi.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. I think we lost Laura. Here specifically for Wellness Wednesday here with me, Jeni Saud, is really just women and their stories. Like I love how Laura shared she was in school for music. That's how we know each other, from high school in the music scene. And she was halfway through completing school and she realized she didn't want to be in music. She wanted to, after taking interior design, she just shifted and changed. And it's okay to do that. Whether you're formally educating yourself or whether you're self-educating yourself, I think especially now in the creative part of things, we could find ourselves just shifting in the way that we think because of what we've learned in the past, because of what we're learning right now. There we go. Hey, Laura. I was like, we lost Laura. Okay, let me let me unmute you real quick. There we go. So as we close out, go ahead and unmute yourself, Laura. Do you have any other last tips for anybody to share? Just in maybe even just pursuing their passion. You know, you were halfway through completing what your first primary profession was, and then you just shifted. Like, was that scary for you, or were you excited?
It was scary, like honestly. It was scary just because I knew I was good at music. So this was like more of something that was unknown to me. But I would do it all over again. I mean, I graduated from design school in 2013 and I kind of stayed working in retail for like another 3 years before I actually ventured out. And finally I was like, I can't keep doing this, you know? So unless you can make a big risk, like if I hadn't had a friend push me to make that big risk, I'd probably still be stuck there. But like now, like I'm able to provide for my family. Like it's completely changed my life. Like it's like night and day to where I was before. And I feel like God's really blessed me with everything. And I think if you just stay true to yourself and you keep following and you set goals for yourself, that you'll be successful. It just takes perseverance. And you have to also be like open to learning too. Like that's one thing that really made me successful is when I first started in my industry, I was like a sponge. I went out and found every resource I could to make me better at my job.
And because I did those things early on, it's made me successful now.
So good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your profession, and for playing tag with me all these last, I think it's been the last 2 months we've been trying to get you on the calendar.
Kind of weird.
But we know you're busy.
Yeah, well, it's like because COVID, like it kind of messed up. Like usually the building season starts in the beginning of March and it ends at the end of July, and then it picks up again in the beginning of September. But because we were shut down for a month and a half, like there hasn't been any type of break at all. So I've just been like, go, go, go. But it's a blessing and a curse kind of in disguise because I can't complain about being busy, right? Especially in the climate that we're in. I feel like I'm really fortunate because of that.
So I don't know if you were on the call or if you accidentally dropped out. We have a construction manager on the call. And she's based out of California. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, maybe they know somebody or
so
how do they get in touch with you?
Great thing. I have a referral program that I use with all the interior designers and contractors I work with. I'm actually the ASID affiliate for my location. So I'm the one that does all of the, and that's ASID is the American Association of Interior Design. So I'm the member for that for our specific dealers. So I deal with a lot of them. And I have like really high-end jobs that I work on in like Sherwood. Like I'm also always constantly referring contractors if it's like something that I don't want my company to take on. Because if it's like a really, really big construction thing, I don't really want to get my guys wrapped up in that, mainly because I only offer the construction I need to finish the job to get the job done. So if they're like needing to move walls and things like that, like I would refer.
What's the best way to get a hold of you? Phone number, email, Instagram, Facebook?
Probably like send me an email or a text. Texting, I can get back to you pretty quick. Emails too. Calling me sometimes can be problematic because if I'm in a meeting, I don't normally answer my phone.
Awesome. So I'll put that in the description below or on the screen on the replay. Laura's email is on her screen right now. For those of you who are seeing, it's lnixon286@gmail.com. And then just text me your phone number and I'll put that on the replay, Laura, so that it could be on the screen somewhere. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. We like to keep it short and sweet because we know you might be on your lunch break. We know that, your time is valuable, but like it's stories like this. Like I love seeing the comments. You guys have been inspired by just Laura's drive, her passion. I think at one point or some point, or maybe multiple points in our life, we find ourselves kind of at a pivotal decision-making moment where if we choose the blue pill or the red pill, as I like to say with the Matrix, right? But let's make sure we share this video if you're tuning in, if you're seeing the replay, because I've been inspired by Laura's story, by just her drive. There's, especially if you're in business for yourself and maybe you were never had that like prior experience in running anything, it is a big leap forward to shift your whole career or to shift your whole thinking of having a job to even venturing out to doing other projects on yourself on your own. But I love the tip that Laura has shared, was that there's this one particular friend that pushed her to really go for it, right? And I think all of us need that, whether it's a mentor, a friend, a family member, because not everyone's going to understand why we make those decisions. But surround yourself with the people who are going to support you, and guard your heart from the people who don't cut them off, especially if they like live in your house, but but just guard your heart and know who to go to for advice. So again, my name is Jeni Emson. Thank you for tuning in for Wellness Wednesday. Appreciate you all for chiming in. If you know someone who we'd love to feature here on Wellness Wednesday, a powerful woman in their story, we would love to connect with them. Message me or find the way. My information will be on the screen here, but if you've been invited on here, the person who invited you will know how to get in touch with me. Again, if you want to learn more about Ladies of Justice and the Legal Shield part of things and our opportunities, our products and services to help your business or to help your family, especially during this time of COVID, getting real-time answers as legislation, at least here in Hawaii, is like changing by the hour. It's not even changing by the week. It's like one thing in the AM and another thing in the PM, right? And so getting yourself in tune with all that information and having access to something that could help you, we definitely want to get that information to you. We have other Zoom calls that are more Legal Shield specific, but every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Hawaii time, 2 o'clock Pacific, we're featuring Ladies of Justice through our network for Wellness Wednesday. With that said, guys, have a great rest of the day. Aloha and goodbye. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Laura.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Mahalo, Laura. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay.